Awesome. All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Buenos
morning.
dias. My name is Rey Wences Nájera. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the first deputy for Mayor Johnson's Office of Immigrant, Migrant, and Refugee Rights. We are here today to speak on President Biden's executive order announced on Tuesday this week. President Biden's parole in place, which will establish a new process to consider case-by-case basis requests for certain non-citizen spouses and children of U.S. citizens who have lived in the U.S., and also removing barriers for certain employment based on immigrant visas for eligible individuals. As a formerly undocumented immigrant, I know that this type of announcement is life-changing and will be life-changing for over 500,000 people in this country. We know that this is a great step to ensure that there are more legal protections for undocumented immigrants and people in our communities. But we also know that there were many that were left out. I just want to mention that many of us lived in mixed status families, so it's very important for us to continue fighting. And I want to commend Mayor Brandon Johnson for taking his leadership and his voice across the country and making sure that we were one of the champions as a city of Chicago and in the state of Illinois to ensure that this was made possible. What this means for many people in our city will be tremendous. Many people will have access to this process and will be able to have, again, those legal protections. But this is only one step. I want to, again, thank everyone who's here this morning because this is also a victory for the community members that have rallied around this issue for many years. And today we celebrate, but we know that the fight must continue. And so I want to invite and welcome Mayor Brandon Johnson to the stage to share a few words, and thank you very much.
We don't get a chance to see each other as often, Ray. It's really good to see you. We work in the same building, but clearly we're both working hard. And good morning, buenos dias. Thank you all for joining us today. You know, last month in collaboration with Cities for Action, the Resurrection Project, and the American Business Immigration Coalition, I sent a letter signed by over 40 mayors encouraging President Biden to leverage his authority and provide relief to undocumented families. Today, we are thrilled to celebrate the latest actions taken by the president to keep families together and give immigrants the chance to work and pursue their dreams in our country. That's our country. That's a good thing. This is the biggest immigration policy victory since the implementation of DACA. And for the spouses of U.S. citizens who have already been living here and contributing to the vibrancy of our communities for 10 or more years, they now have a pathway to stay together and to apply for legal residency. And for the DACA recipients who have earned their education here and want to continue to work here, President Biden has opened a pathway for them to get employed, to contribute their talents, and to ultimately strengthen our nation. I applaud the Biden administration for passing these two hugely impactful immigration policies, especially after 2 decades of congressional deadlock on immigration reform. This would not be possible without the hard work of strong advocates and those who actually love people. Community residents, elected officials like my dear friend and sister, Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, and Congressman Chuy Garcia, who urged the federal government to provide this kind of relief. Now, as Chicago continues to welcome immigrants and asylum seekers, and we will continue to do that, we need greater pathways to residency and employment. Like the generations of immigrants who came before them, our newest arrivals are coming here to work, to live, and ultimately to experience freedom in a land of promise. And they have the power to grow our economy and secure a better life for themselves and their families. And they have the ability to strengthen the fabric of all of our communities. They deserve the opportunity to do just that. And my administration is proud to follow in the footsteps of Mayor Harold Washington, who believed in unity and strongly encouraged and established Chicago as a true welcoming city. And whether people arrive here through the Great Migration, or Darien Gap, or Chicago welcomes all who want to contribute to our city and share in the prosperity of this city. The city continues to lead layers of collaboration and partnerships with community organizations intergovernmental partners, mutual aid and advocacy groups, and stakeholders across the state of Illinois to welcome and support the new arrivals. We're hard at work to meet the immediate needs of these communities, and we are particularly focused on creating more shelter spaces for new arrivals. While we are grateful that these two policy actions from President Biden will certainly have impact on the work that we have to continue to do, we must continue to make sure that Congress is doing its part. We call on Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform and create real pathways to citizenship. And then to do it for the millions of people who have been disenfranchised, the hardworking people who are already living here and who are already fueling our economy. We cannot let the forces that are ultimately trying to divide us, we cannot let them win. So it is a fundamental right that we give everybody the opportunity to live here and to have full, complete status in this country, in this city. You know, other states may have forgotten about the true value of who we are as a nation. But I can tell you this, the city of Chicago will never forget its true values, and we will never compromise them. So with that, I look forward to our continued progress that we will do together, and thank you. And with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and help us move along. I am grateful that we have a true champion in Congress, my dear friend and sister, Congresswoman Delia Ramirez.
Buenos dias, good morning. Buenos dias. Hope you had your coffee. I just had a couple sips now, so I feel a lot more awake. My eyes are beginning to open. But it doesn't matter if it's 7 a.m., 5 a.m., okay, maybe 5 a.m., but 8 a.m., we would be here and standing together because today is a truly historic day. For those of you that don't know, I am the only member of Congress in a mixed status family. When I go to Congress and I go to DC every single week, I am reminded of the work that needs to happen and has not happened there. I serve as vice-ranking member of Homeland Security, and I sit in rooms with people who oftentimes completely dehumanize people like my family, people like the folks that are standing with me today. And I am reminded that it is important to have folks like us in places like the halls of Congress. We have to address the global crisis of displacement, and to do so, we truly need comprehensive immigration reform. I know that regardless if our families came here in 1904, 1984, or 2024, they contribute to the fabric of this country. And since coming to office, I have been advocating for executive and congressional action to protect our dreamers, to strengthen our asylum, and to provide relief for long-term undocumented immigrants across our nation. Yesterday's announcement marks a significant step forward because there's this assumption. If you marry a U.S. citizen, you automatically become a U.S. citizen. Well, let me say to you that automatic does not exist. My husband and I have been married now 4 years, and we are still in the process. But for many people who came to this country and didn't come on a visa, and they came through our southern border, many of them have to go home and wait, in some cases, 10 years while they're going through their adjustment with their spouse. Now imagine you have a 1-year-old child, and you are tired of living in the shadows, and you begin your process, and you are told you have to go to Mexico, you have to go back to Haiti, you have to go back to Guatemala, and you're not going to see your child for almost 10 years with no guarantee that you'll be able to come back. Well, President Biden's executive order announcement on Tuesday changes that. And it changes that for almost 500,000 people. Because families will not have to choose between separation and being able to live out of the shadows. It is going to make a significant impact, not just for that family, but we know for the fabric of our communities. And we're very grateful for that step forward. For dreamers who didn't make it through that 2012 time frame to be able to get DACA, if they went to school here, they will be able to get a professional visa. For some of them who've been here since the age of 3 months, 7 years age, they will finally be able to work in this country with a professional visa once they apply. These two things are major steps. But I want to say to you, I don't forget a voice I heard yesterday. Falto yo. Falto yo. As you heard from Mayor Johnson, these are significant steps forward, but we still have more work to do. Because my tío Chilano probably won't be able to get that adjustment status at this moment. Because Wesley Hernandez, my brother-in-law, he's a dreamer married to a non-citizen. But the coalition that you see here, the mayor that you see here, we will continue to work endlessly to ensure that everyone who can get status, that deserves to have status, which we believe everyone seeking asylum in this country should be able to get work permits, gets to that step forward. So I want to end by saying, Mayor Johnson, you have been steadfast in your commitment in making those calls to the administration with coalitions like the people that you see here. I know so because the last time I talked to the administration, right after my meeting with the president, I talked to them and said, I know what you want. You want expedited work permits for all. Your mayor doesn't stop talking about it. And I'm glad he said that. His tone may have been, I know, a bit annoyed. But it's okay if we annoy people. And we're going to continue to do so. Because things like what happened on Tuesday doesn't happen when you're in the field of comfort. People must be uncomfortable when we're fighting for social justice for all of us. So today, Tuesday, is a big day. And over the next few weeks, we'll get the final rule on how to apply, who qualifies. But I want to thank Ere. I want to thank every single organization here, the Resurrection Project. I want to thank the Latino Policy Forum. I want to thank my elected officials that are here. I want to thank the city. Because without you, without the state of Illinois, that executive order, those executive announcements would not have happened. Together, and when we organize together, is when we win for all of us. Thank you. With that, I would like to introduce to you Chair Ayala Bermejo. I say it right? I got the Ayala right.
You got it. Always perfect. Karina Ayala Bermejo, President and CEO of Instituto de Progreso Latino, also the honor of serving as chair of the New Americans Advisory Council. We have the privilege of being able to advise the mayor's office and the Immigrant Office of Refugee Rights. We do so to provide input so that we are improving the services to our immigrant community, at the same time engaging our very diverse immigrant and refugee community. What this day means to us is monumentous. It means that the President of the United States and the administration understands not only the value, but the vibrant diversity of an immigrant community. It means that the state leadership, the city leadership, and our fearless leader, the mayor, along with all of our friends in Congress, especially our champion and trailblazer, Congresswoman Ramirez, Congressman Garcia. It means that when we work together as a collective, we win. Now, what I can tell you is that on the heels of the 12th anniversary of DACA, this is a big deal. What I can say is that folks like Simone, who full ride to Harvard, now has a future to work. What I can say that as an undocumented immigrant, as a kid myself, that won the policy lottery when our family was able to adjust because of citizenship that my brother had. What this means is they too will have a pathway, like I did, to advance and really commit to improving the lives of other immigrants. I am forever grateful for that opportunity. That opportunity allowed my family to change the trajectory of our life, and every second of my life, I am reminded of that huge debt of society that I owe, and I do it through service. I do it so that everyone who is like me can reach their full potential, and they can do that now. It is without a doubt a victory, but it is a victory that is incomplete without addressing the other 11 million undocumented individuals. It is absolutely a step in the right direction. It is a step that shows that our advocates, that our business leaders, that our faith-based leaders, and labor have a strong voice that the President of the United States is listening to, again, because of our fearless leadership of our mayor. Honored to be here. Let's keep it going. Thank you. And another important voice, Giselle Rodriguez.
Hello, everyone. My name is Giselle Rodriguez, and I am an undocumented dreamer, and I am a member of a mixed status family. My parents brought me to this country in 2009. This state excluded me from DACA. Despite my status, I have been a model citizen following all of the rules. I graduated high school in 2015. I received my bachelor's from Northeastern Illinois University in 2019. And in 2020, during the pandemic, I received my master's from the University of Chicago. I am now married to a U.S. citizen. I have 2 children, expecting my third, and I remain undocumented. Aside from being a wife and a mother, I founded a nonprofit organization called Illinois Workers in Action, where I'm able to give back to my community. This work is very demanding, yet rewarding. Today, I have renewed hope that there may now be a pathway for me, a path to a work permit and a path to adjust my status. Today, there is renewed hope in hundreds of thousands of families like mine, and there is renewed hope for dreamers who go to college without knowing what they can do with their degrees. We have so much more work to do to make sure that these programs are successful and to make sure we continue to expand opportunities for more immigrants. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Ere Rendon.
Buenos días. Voy a empezar en español. Estamos aquí porque el martes el presidente Biden anunció las actualizaciones de política más importantes para la comunidad inmigrante indocumentada desde que se anunció DACA hace 12 años. Este anuncio le va a dar esperanza a más de 500,000 familias indocumentadas, 500,000 familias quienes algunas de sus familiares son indocumentados. Y va a abrir oportunidades para los Dreamers que van a poder aplicar para visas de trabajo. Esto significa que ayer nosotros, esta coalición, demostró de que el presidente sí tiene el poder de otorgar permisos de trabajo y sí tiene el poder y lo puede usar. Y yo estoy eternamente agradecida porque aquí en Illinois tenemos campeones. Nuestro alcalde fue el primer alcalde de pedirle al presidente que otorgue permisos de trabajo para los inmigrantes indocumentados que tienen décadas en esta ciudad. Y mi congresista, Delia Ramírez, fue la primera congresista en que le escribió una carta al presidente urgiéndole lo mismo. Aquí en Illinois empezó y no tenemos y no nos vamos a parar porque sabemos que van a seguir existiendo millones de inmigrantes indocumentados que no van a poder calificar, y nuestro compromiso es seguir trabajando y seguir abogando hasta que todos tengamos esa misma oportunidad. Good morning, my name is Ere. I'm the Vice President of Immigrant Justice at the Resurrection Project, and we're here today because on Tuesday, President Biden announced the most significant policy update since 12 years ago when DACA was announced. President Biden restored hope to 500,000 families like Giselle's family, and he's opening up opportunities for dreamers who find themselves with little or no or few work options after they graduate from college. That means that on Tuesday, this coalition and a larger coalition across the country was able to prove that the president does have authority to update existing policy to make sure that the long-term undocumented community is also able to apply for protections and work authorization. And I am delighted that we are in Illinois and that we are in Chicago and that we have champions, because our mayor was the first mayor to call on President Biden to use his executive authority to grant work permits for undocumented immigrants. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Mayor Johnson. And Also, our Congresswoman, my Congresswoman, Delia Ramirez, was the first member of Congress to write to the president urging him to use his authority to expand work permits through executive action. I remember I was pulling weeds when I got a call saying that the Congresswoman had already sent the letter and we were going to start doing media. And so thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your dedication. And for always being an advocate for our communities. And we will not stop because this continues to leave a lot of families out. But what we did this week is we showed that we have the power, we showed the president has the power, and we're going to continue until every single immigrant one day is able to apply for work authorization. Thank you.
That's why I pushed you up there.
Mr. Mayor, is there an idea as to how many families in Chicago these
Do we have that number for Chicago? I know it's 500,000 across the country. It's significant. I don't have an exact number, but when we had this conversation with the White House, particularly President Biden's senior advisor, it is very clear that the city of Chicago and really surrounding counties, Cook County in particular, are well positioned to benefit economically because of the freedom, quite frankly, that will come as a result of these two executive orders. So no specific number, but it is significant. Thank you.
My question is off topic.
Can we do on topic first?
All
right, thanks.
Mayor, is your administration considering reversing or revising your evictions policy for migrant families and shelters at all, or is this current iteration the final one?
What my administration is committed to doing is making sure that families who are seeking asylum in the city of Chicago have a place where they can seek refuge. The ultimate goal is for resettlement. It's temporary shelter. It's temporary shelter. The ultimate goal is resettlement. That's why you see the full force of government, the philanthropic community, the business community, the faith community. We're working hard to make sure that families are not staying in a cot, in a warehouse. Listen, the challenge is still what it is. You have Trumpsters who are still trying to block the full expression for families who have already contributed to our society. That's the focus here. The focus has to be on real substantive immigration reform policy. These are symptoms to a system that is broken. That's why we're grateful that we have a full, broad coalition that thinks bigger than just some small system. Thank you.
Is the policy, is any change?
Thank you, Alice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take the one topic.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Does it have anything to do with how good I look this morning? Okay, all right.
You could straighten your tie a little bit.
Oh, wow, dang. All right, hold on a second, all right, here we go. Thanks for looking out. At least he didn't say anything about my hair. Okay. All right, let's refocus.
So I know you're speaking about the Emergency Victims Fund and expanding that a little later on here this morning. But I wanted to ask a question about violence.
Yeah.
Of course, we had a violent Father's Day weekend. We had a 7-year-old little boy who was killed. We've had 2 shootings, one of them deadly, at or near Chicago beaches this week. I understand the statistics that shootings are down, homicides are down, but there's also the perception of safety too, which hasn't equaled with the actual numbers, the statistics. What are you doing to try and improve the perception of safety in the city?
Well, look, first of all, thank you for that question. And look, the violence in the city of Chicago that has been a pervasive problem in this city for a very long time. And the grief and the torment and the trauma that is caused by some individuals who are committed to invoking their terror and trauma on the people of Chicago has been unbearable. The city continues to grieve, quite frankly, and I've said this repeatedly in a very personal way. Families who just want to make sure that their child can go out and ride their bikes, play outside without fear of being harmed. That's a real challenge that we have in Chicago. It's one that I've experienced, my wife and I. And as far as what our approach is, it's still a two-pronged approach. Look, there are roughly 35 beats where violence is most pervasive. And individuals who are causing chaos in this city will be held accountable. It's just that simple. We're not going to tolerate it. We never have. We've been especially focused on the neighborhoods in the beats in particular where violence has been most pervasive. We will continue to double down on our strategy to make sure that there's not just a presence of enforcement, but a presence of engagement. So we still are committed to our investments in building homes, creating mental health support services, and opening up facilities to do that, hiring our young people. And as you said, yes, 17% reduction in homicides, shootings are down, but one murder, one homicide, one shooting is still one too many. And so I am grateful that our police superintendent, along with our business community, the philanthropic community, violence interrupters, we will be doubling down on our efforts, focusing in the neighborhoods and the blocks in particular, where families feel under siege, quite frankly. So it's a lot of work to be done, but we're very much committed to building a better, stronger, safer Chicago.
Just on the perception part of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get too far off on like how do we influence the feelings of people, right? Because these are feelings, and I get the frustration that people have felt, and when you see the work that we're doing, what I can emphatically say, and what I will continue to encourage the people of Chicago to do, that the mess that we got in, we didn't create. We didn't create it. We didn't raid the pensions. My administration didn't do that. My administration did not sell off public assets, shut down schools, shut down public housing. This city was running to the ground. And everybody knows that. It jacked up the finances, got bad deals. And so now we're left with the chaos and the mess that was created by other people. That's why I think it's significant that you can celebrate Black liberation as well as immigration reform policies to give undocumented families the ability to experience liberation. You can do that in 1 week. That's how amazing the freaking city of Chicago is. So I know there are difficult moments that we all are experiencing, but today is a testament that if we continue to work together at every single level of government, it's going to take all of us in the community to continue to hold these individuals accountable, but to make sure that we're making critical investments in the people of Chicago. The homicides and shootings will continue to fall, and investments will continue to grow. All right, thank you all again. God bless you.